What's going on, everyone? This is Ryan from the Byte That team. We're coming off another edition of Monday Night Raw. Raw took place in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and of course it's only fitting that we got the return of Bret Hart, but we also got the debut of Bret Sandhart, which was of course Damien Sandow coming out and confronting Bret Hart, and pretty much just a fun little segment here with Bret landing a punch on Sandow. And, that was pretty much it. We got what felt like a very normal Raw here. Nothing too big really happening, really paling in comparison to last week's excellent Raw. Some things I did like about Raw this week was Hollywood Miz. Now, I really am actually digging Miz's kind of new twist on his character since he's returned. Very reminiscent of Hollywood Rock, of course. Maybe Miz hasn't done as high-profile movies as The Rock did at that time, but you know what? It's still a great gimmick that's really given him something to do and really shine with since his return, especially since his run before was really mediocre. Some places we did get some storyline progression, though, was, believe it or not, in the Divas division. First, with the Divas Championship, we saw AJ Lee and Paige teaming up in a very different tone with the two of them than we saw last week. So this is an interesting dynamic they got going on here, where they're actually kind of being very friendly and respectful towards each other, but maybe there's this fake element to it that's going to slowly break apart in the coming weeks. That's what I expect to happen, but of course we'll be talking about that more later. And then where we saw definite dissension in a group was the Funkadactyls actually breaking up, or at least seriously heading towards that. They just got into an all-out cat fight, and I fully expect to see them going against each other at the Battleground pay-per-view, and hopefully they'll develop this even more and more intense in the coming weeks. But a lot of things going on in the Divas division, which is a really good sign because it's certainly needed. So all of these topics and more we're going to be talking about on this week's podcast, which will be available Tuesday. That'll be July 8th on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. It's all going to be available on that same day, so you'll definitely want to check that out. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video and leave your comment on what you thought about Raw. And also don't forget, it's going to be up Tuesday as well, is Juan's latest edition of the Cheap Seat, where he's going to be talking about Jericho actually commenting on the backstage elements of his recent return that just happened last week. Jericho's already made comments about the inner workings of things backstage about his return on his podcast, and Juan comments on whether or not that's actually good for the wrestling business. So you'll want to check that out as well on this YouTube channel. So I want to thank you for watching the Raw reception once again. It is the show before the show, after the show.